Greetings, it's Living Fruits on YouTube. Back from Spain, I'm back in my kitchen. Welcome back. It's been a while. And I want to talk a little bit about, guess what, because I'm in the kitchen, food and nutrition, the raw food lifestyle and the current conversations that are happening and my take on it. My thing is, from the beginning, was and is intuitive eating. Eat that which your body calls for that is healthy. And the way into that is through juice fasting or juice feasting or juice cleansing. You can call it muscle memory. Neurologically, our brains are like filing cabinets. Every single physical experience that you have had since the day you left the waters and were born is stored in your brain. Everything. So, therefore, everything that you have eaten and that has been good for you nutritionally, that has served your body well, knows about itself. It knows that lettuces have been good to my body in the past. I love the greens, the cabbage and the spinach and the kale. My body knows that the greens have been good to me in the past. So when I have fasted and I'm returning to solid food and refeeding myself, the muscle memory, if you like, of my internal organs knows what my body needs to be at its optimum health. So I go into the greengrocers and I'm intuitively drawn to the greens, or whatever it is at that time that my body needs, depending on the climate, depending on how stressed or emotional I am, my body will be drawn to that particular food. Juice cleansing is a way in because it allows you to flush, but then you're like an empty vessel to then begin refeeding in a way that works for you. I can't say enough about juice fasting. I say that all the time. I do it 3 days a month, and I've been doing that. Will be coming up for 2 years. I'm going to do an update on my personal diet, but in terms of the raw food as a lifestyle and the best way to go about it, do your research, listen to as many people that talk about this lifestyle as you can, read books on it, and then hone it down to that which suits you, your physiognomy, the climate that you live in, the foods you like, the foods that you don't like, with the knowledge that your body already knows. You already know. You have that muscle memory. You have all of those memories of the food that suits who you are physically, mentally and spiritually. Access to food is a privilege. Access to fruits, vegetables, any food is a privilege, given that we are souls having a human experience. So all experiences that we have on this planet is a privilege. So knowing that, do you not owe it to yourselves to honour that privilege by choosing to eat in a way that benefits you greatly and benefits others and the environment? That's how I see it. Let food be thy medicine and let medicine be thy food. I think it's a good quote. I'm not all that down with the source of the quote, but it's a good quote, because what you begin to understand when you fast, so you remove the habit that you have, the sad diet, you remove that and then you begin to replace it with the good foods. You can begin to use foods as medicine. As I said, I'm going to do an update, but I've not really shared this before, that the reason I came to raw foods and the greatest benefit I've had from raw foods is curing depression. I spoke in my last video about the difficult time I was having, bereavement and relationship problems. I was depressed, and when I first started juicing, I literally went from 0 to 100. It was like, first day of juice fasting, miserable, all of that, all those negative thoughts, third day, like she rose again, like your upliftment. And I haven't experienced that sort of depression since I've been eating in this lifestyle. So I claim to have cured depression through the raw food lifestyle, because I'm beginning to understand how to use food as medicine. One of the other major revelations for me was how sugar impacts my physicality and my outlook and my clarity. Sugar for me is like poison. And when I fall off the wagon and, you know, I do eat sugar, I can literally, I experience the thoughts going from positive to negative. It's like I can hear the, you know, the form of that sugar actually, you know, directing my thoughts. I go into that mode of, why is all the good tasting stuff so bad for you? And I know that I have to steer clear of sugar. And, you know, manage how I take in sugar. I'm really coming from a place of honesty. I'm coming from a place of experience, and, you know, just really sharing what has worked for me. I don't think that 100% raw food diet is sustainable for all people all of the time. The so-called successful raw fooders, they're all in their like mid-30s and beautiful people, athletes. You know, they're like, oh, you know, I ate a box of peaches and, you know, I usually run 8 miles a day. Like, generally people do not run 8 miles a day along the Californian beach. That's not the average person. You know, so to advocate that's for everybody, I don't agree with that. I will, you know, continue to say that it's about intuitive eating, and the way into intuitive eating is through juice fasting or juice cleansing, whatever you want to call it. I'm actually glad that the 100% raw thing is breaking down, and the fruitarian thing and the 80-10-10. People are beginning to realise that you can't live like that unless you are an athlete or you're, you know, like really young and all of that stuff. There's no individuality, you know, there's no self-pollination. I love that expression. You know, there's nothing about being self-pollinating. If you have like a book that says do this and you just do it to the letter, there's nothing self-pollinating in that. It's about picking the good sense from the nonsense, and I think I will say pick the good sense from the nonsense. You know, read widely, listen, talk, all of that, and then choose what's right for you. I'm really passionate about this at the moment because the you know, there's a passionate sort of conversation happening in what is called the raw food movement, you know, and I've been watching videos and commenting and stuff. There's so much for me to say, and it's interesting that the people with the biggest followings, you know, saying stuff that's good for them but not good for the wide population. And I don't mean that to make them wrong, but I just wish the message was not dogmatic. I just wish the message just wasn't as dogmatic. Going back to food being a privilege, like any human experience, if you're suffering to eat and it's like a painful thing to deny yourself that steamed broccoli, then how is that healthy? Because it's like a negative emotion. It's like a under the radar emotion. It's frustration. It's all of that sort of sadness sort of emotion. So that's not good for you either. That's not good for your soul to feel bad about what you're eating. So you know, I would just say do what makes you feel good. Do what works for you. Obviously make healthy choices. Okay, so you're craving chocolate. You don't have to eat the whole shop of chocolate. You can just have one piece. You don't have to eat the whole shop of chocolate. But then you don't have to deny yourself all chocolate in the world either. You know, it's about balance. Anyway, I could continue borderline ranting about this, but I won't. I'm going to ask you, do you think that a 100% raw food diet is sustainable for all people all of the time? What are your thoughts?